Hello everyone, welcome to the P1 program. This lecture we can call it as P 107.2. So in this lecture what I'm going to do is that 107.2, right? So in this lecture what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explain what I have done in the last lecture. So in the last lecture, what we have done is that we have derived the different aspects of circular motion. So if you move around in a circle, right? So if you move around in a circle, you can see that the different characteristics of this circular path we have to evaluate. So the position is constantly changing, the velocity has to be found out, the acceleration at each point has to be analyzed, we need to find them out. So by going through the normal Cartesian coordinate system, you will find it hard to move around and calculate the actual velocities and acceleration and all that. So it will be quite hard. So we have took the path of polar coordinate system, and it is quite advantageous because as you come across these things, right? So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to first explain the physics behind what we have derived last time. So we took almost 1 hour explaining the derivation, did the derivation, actual derivation of all acceleration and velocity vectors. Now I'm going to explain them and I'm going to demonstrate a problem for you guys. Okay, so that's the plan of this lecture. So last time we had found out the velocity vector, and which was v of t, which is a function of time, that is equal to some r times d theta by dt in the theta cap direction, right? So that was the velocity vector, we have found that out, right? So we also derived, you have to go back to this that lecture 107.1. If you don't if you haven't watched it, you have to go through that to understand where it came from. So we derived it, all of them, right? So and also the velocity had component in the theta cap direction, it had components of d theta by dt in the theta cap direction, and it had components minus d theta by dt in the r cap direction. So what does it means is that, okay, so you can write down that velocity can be written as some d theta by dt in the theta cap direction and a minus r cap direction. So in the minus sign in the r cap direction. So velocity can be represented. So this is what we have derived last time. So what does it say? What does it say about the physics of a body which is rotating? If it is rotating like this, right? So if it is rotating like this, then what does it say? What does it tell us, right? So if you look closely here, you can see that the velocity vector has the component of minus d theta by dt in the r cap direction. So r cap direction is like this, right? Radially outwards. So it's a radial direction, and in the radial direction the velocity component has a minus sign with the theta, d theta by dt, right? So as theta increases faster with time, right? So if the theta increases faster with time, then d theta by dt will be much higher, right? If d theta by dt will be higher, then that means that the r component, the r cap component, radial component, will be smaller. That's the minus sign right there. So we can intuitively imagine that, right? If for the other case, if you look at the other case, if d theta by dt is higher, that means the rate of change of theta is higher, faster, it is rotating faster, then that means that the theta cap, in the theta cap direction, which is the angular direction, the velocity component will be much higher, right? Whereas here in the r cap direction it is quite the opposite. So that means that is physically understanding that equation. So it is actually very much compliant with the intuition that we have, right? So we think like that if the radial component has to be dominant, then the theta component has to be smaller. So in other words, I want to make a point here, right? So this is an important part of the this derivation. Okay, this is the most important, I think. So there is no other way of thinking about this, what I'm going to say. Okay, so if, okay, if you consider as something with a radius r, right? So what happens, and it is rotating like this, what happens if I suddenly switch the radius, cut the radius and radius to some smaller value? So the radius has now become a smaller value, right? So the, what happens then, what happens to the velocity, right? So if you look back into this equation, so if the radius is smaller, reverse of what I said earlier, so d theta by dt, right? If the radius is small, then d theta by dt has to go up, right? So in order to make sure that the radial component gets smaller, that means the d theta by dt has to go up. So that means the velocity of the theta component, that means in this direction, that's the theta cap direction, right? So theta is like this, and in this direction and in this direction, which is radial component, and this is theta cap component. So in, if the radius is cut down immediately, that means the theta cap has to go up, right? So that means the velocity will go up. So if you are a, if you are like rotating a big thing, a big disc, right? So suddenly if you have a spring like this, if you have a spring to contract that disc, right? Then if you make it smaller immediately, that means it will spin faster. Okay, this is the idea behind the conservation of angular momentum, which we will see in a couple of few lectures afterwards. So I want to give you the first glimpse of the reality, the physics behind the existence of angular momentum and its conservation. So that's the velocity equation, that's understanding the velocity equation. Now let's do the acceleration. So we have already also derived the acceleration vector. uh, the acceleration vector, you can call it a cap or a vector of t, not a unit vector anyways. So that will be some r times d square theta by dt square, right, in the theta cap direction, plus minus r times d theta by dt the whole square. We have done this last time, so that's why I'm not explaining anything. So this is what we got in the final part of the lecture 107.1, right? So this is, let's call it this 3, equation 3, okay, or equation 3, okay, that's fun, or equation 2. That's first equation being the equation of what, equation of velocity, the velocity vector be the first equation. Okay, so we have to keep track of what we are doing. Now that's the acceleration equation. So similarly, if you look at this, if you look at this acceleration vector, you can see that clearly that the radial component or the theta cap component is increasing with the acceleration, with the increasing d square theta by dt square. So it's increasing fast if the theta component, the second derivative of the theta component is going fast, right? Second derivative means the slope of the slope, right? So it's like magnifying something and then magnifying the magnified, right? So it's like looking into the deeper characteristics of a curve. So if this is a curve, you found out the tangent, and then you look at the tangent, where does tangent goes to. Okay, that's what is mean by looking at the second derivative. So we have did numerous problems regarding that. Anyways, so d square theta by dt square will directly apply to the what, the acceleration. So d square, the theta cap component will directly contribute to acceleration, whereas the r cap component will inversely contribute to the acceleration. So acceleration will be smaller if the radial component is larger. So that's very good, right? So that's the radial component will get smaller if the for okay, what does it mean is that if you have a circle, the same thing, right? Theta, if theta is changing fast, theta is changing fast, the radial acceleration will be smaller, right? So the radial acceleration will be smaller uh, for theta being higher. So that's what it is doing. It's the same thing that we have discussed. And we have also found out that the individual components can be mentioned here. If you want, you can write down a of r will be the radial vector in the r cap direction will be minus r d theta by dt. That's the individual components. And a of theta, I'm writing this for a reason. Okay, d square theta by dt square. And here we have explained what d theta by dt is minus r omega, right? Omega square. So omega is called angular velocity, you can call it angular v. So it is called angular velocity, and here in the theta cap direction the acceleration had r alpha, right? So alpha is called d square theta by dt square. So d square theta by dt square is called alpha, and d theta by dt is called omega, right? So that is, one thing is angular acceleration, this is acceleration, and this was velocity, right? So we have introduced that as well, right? So okay, that's the whole thing that we have done earlier, and that's the physics behind the derivation of all those things. Right now, what I'm going to do is that I hope you understood what we are doing and what we have achieved so far. So I want to ask you a question. So this question is like this: so why go through all this trouble of defining r cap, theta cap, v cap, v theta cap, ar, a theta, the vectors in theta and r, when you can resolve things in Cartesian coordinates? So you, all you have to do is just take a Cartesian coordinate xy and then represent that curve, and then find the real time position and the equation, and you can take the derivative. But actually it is very hard, it's quite hard when you do actual problems, right? When you do actual problems, when you have to actually solve for acceleration, it will take a long time, right? So the time will be much higher for using, when you use Cartesian system and all those things. Right now it is much easier in polar coordinate system. You will see that in a second. So how can you see that? I will do a problem. So that's the easiest way I can convince you that this is the right way and the easiest way. So for that I'm going to say, so you can have like uh, a circular path, right? A circular path, and the body can move around. So it can have different radius if you want, means that the radius is changing with time, you can have that. And the theta can be changing with time, anything you want, right? So radius can change with time, and also the theta, the angle can change with time. That means the angle swept across different time, right? It will go faster from this part to this part, it will go slower from this part to this part. The radius will be higher in this part, the radius will be smaller in this part. So that kind of elliptical orbital, something like that. So any mode of rotation, right? Any mode of rotation, you don't have to find anything, you don't have to do any calculation, you don't have to find the equation of ellipse, you don't have to insert that, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is just find the equation of the theta, right? So you can directly, if you can find that equation of theta or r or anything like that, then you can solve from it using these relations. So let's assume that I am given a problem like theta t, which is theta is changing with time. So I told you that theta can change with time or r can change with time, right? So I am taking that r is a constant for easiness. You can take r as a constant and theta as a constant, it will only get more complicated. It will be easy, which you can try out, but it will take a little bit more complication. Anyways, I'm taking theta of t, which is changing time, and r as a constant. I want r as some 2 meters, right? So the radius of rotation is 2 meters, and the theta is changing as some 2 t cube minus 3t, right? So what does this question mean? So okay, let's this is the question, and we need to find out the velocity of this body at real time, at different times. Any time, what's the velocity, what is the acceleration at different times in different axes, right? In different directions, what kind of velocity it can have. It is two dimensional, right? So this is the things that I need to find out, and I can also find out the time when the acceleration in the theta cap or r cap is 0, right? So you can also do that. Okay, if the acceleration is 0, when it will have 0 acceleration. Okay, so this might seem hard for you guys, but this is very easy. How can you do that? All you have to do is just substitute those values in the equation, right? These values into the equation. All I'm going to do is that. So I'm going to write down equation 1, right? Equation 1, we have the velocity vector, which is v of t must be equal to some r times d theta by dt in the theta cap direction, right? So I'm going to substitute that values in here, and I get what 2 times, which is the radius, times 6 t. Okay, I have to find, I got the theta, right? So when I got theta, which is equal to some 2t cube minus 3t, now I can take the derivative of d theta by dt. I get what um, 3 times 2, that's 6t square minus 3, right? So d square theta by dt square will also be some 12t, right? So that's what you can do directly, right? Now we can substitute that back into this equation here. Okay, I will do it here. So r is 2, so r is 2, d theta by dt is just 6t, right? 6t square minus 3 in the theta cap direction. So that's the velocity right there. Okay, it's very easy. Now the velocity I have got it directly right now. So let's assume that some at time is equal to 2 seconds, right? At time is equal to 2 seconds, what will be the velocity? V of 2. So it will be 2 times 6 times 6 times 2 square, that's 4, that's 24, minus 3, that is 21. So that is 42 meter per second, right? So that's the velocity. What I did was just a couple of steps and I got the answer. I don't have to resolve anything, I don't have to do anything like that. It is going to be hard if you are taking things in coordinates, like Cartesian coordinate system. It is quite hard. And the next thing I have to do is that I have to find the acceleration. So acceleration, right? I'm going to do the acceleration. So acceleration is equal to some, if you look at equation 2, right? So that's why I had equation 2 and equation 1 written down. So if you look at equation 2, this is equation 2, right? So this is equation 2. So if you substitute those values into equation 2, you will see that 2 times, right? Acceleration had the equation of which is r times d square theta by dt square, right? So d square theta by dt square is just 12t, right? So it's 12t in the theta cap direction, minus d theta by dt the whole square, right? So that was d theta by dt is 6t square minus 3 the whole square in the r cap direction. So in the r cap direction, the whole inside. So that's acceleration. Now I can substitute that. I can do that for 2 seconds. T is equal to 2 seconds earlier, right? So it's 2 times 12, that's 24 times 2. So 24 times 2 theta cap minus 6t square, so it is 2. So you get 24 minus 3 the whole square in the r cap direction, right? So that is equal to 48 meter per second square in the theta cap direction. And you get 24 minus 3 the whole square, so that is 21 square, that is 441, right? 441 meter per second square in the r cap direction. That's the velocity. So what does it mean? It means that in the r cap direction it has a negative velocity. That means it is pulling this thing inside, right? The body which is moving in a circular motion is being pulled inside by the r cap acceleration and the radial acceleration, and the other acceleration, it is actually moving it sideways, right? It's a positive acceleration. So that's what it means. Now when the if you want to find out the time when the acceleration is 0, right? So what does that mean? Okay, let's find out the, okay, if you are moving like this, right? If you are moving like this, you can see that at some point the radius was a constant in this problem, right? Radius is a constant, but the theta was changing, right? So theta was changing, that means it is going faster at some points and slower at the other points, right? So faster here it will be slower in the other point, it will be slower in some other points. So what happens here is now is that at some point when it is moving like this, body is moving like this, it will get pulled in or pulled out. It will push in this direction or in this direction depending upon the requirement of the velocity, right? Requirement of the velocity, to satisfy that equation of theta, it has to be pulled in or pulled out. So in that time there will be some times when there is no push in the radial direction, and there could be times when there is no push in the theta cap direction, right? There is no push. Okay, so there could be some time like that. Let's find out the radial. This is an additional thing that we can find out easily without when you use this kind of a system, this kind of a polar solution of acceleration. When we use that in actual cases, we can find it out easily. So let me show you how we can do that. So let's get back to the acceleration equation, right? So we had the acceleration equation, right? So acceleration in the radial direction, the velocity was 6t minus 6t square minus 3, right? 6t square minus 3 the whole square, that was the radial velocity acceleration. So radial acceleration is equal to 0. That means if there is no radial acceleration, that means that 6t, right? I'm going to zoom in for quality. 6t minus 6t square minus 3, right? Is equal to 0, or you can call it as t is equal to some 3 by 6, right? 3 t square is equal to 3 by 6, so t is equal to 1 by root 2, square root of 2, right? So that means that around 0.7 seconds or something like that, so seconds. So in that time there will not be any push or pull in the radial direction of a body moving in circle. In the radial direction there is no push or pull. So that's a point. Okay, when you are dealing with planets or satellites, right, you need to find out these kind of times, right? This is when you can say you can use the thruster of the rocket when there is no push or pull in this direction. If the when you are actually going around in an orbit, you have to find these kind of times, right? If you know actually when there is no push, then you can push the rocket and you can save some fuel, right? So that's the advantage. So that's the actual use of these kind of equations, and this made everything easy, right? So in real time you can follow the path of a circular body. You can include r as a function of t and theta as a function of t. You can do any complicated path just by substituting into this equation. I hope you what we did for the last two lectures was worth it, and it gave you some big tool to understand and do actual physics problems. Okay, with that I'm closing this lecture. Thank you guys for watching, and I wish you all the luck, and subscribe my channel please. Okay, thank you.